Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, and welcome in as we wrap up a spooky month of Halloween-themed episodes here on Those Were the Days. That's right, we're wrapping up our month of October, and you've all been sent to detention. Yes, even seniors in high school can go to detention. And I'm going to be running this detention. I'm your host, Travis, aka TV's Travis, but what's detention without some students? So first, we have our everyman protagonist. He's just figuring out life one episode's lesson at a time. It's Audie.
Feeny! Feeny! Feeny, 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 Feeny! Feeny. Feeny.
It's our resident scream queen, Steven.
Boys meet the world. That's what happens in this show. I did not do my homework. My intro is bad. I deserve detention, and I'm sorry.
And finally, the one who knows all the horror movie references, it's Amy.
I was going to suggest a drinking game in which you took a drink every time that this episode made a reference that placed it squarely in 1998, but don't do that because you will die.
Oh boy, if that isn't true. So if you didn't figure it out from Steven's intro, we watched Boy Meets World, which was a staple of mid-90s TGIF lineup. And it was a staple of that lineup. The show Boy Meets World, starring Ben Savage, brother of Fred Savage, who we talked about on the Wonder Years recently. I guess not that recently. It was a while ago. But
time is a weird thing.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Boy Meets World, which ran from 1993 to the year 2000 for 7 seasons and 158 episodes. It was a TGIF staple, as I mentioned. Coming of age sitcom created by Michael Jacobs and April Kelly, and starred Ben Savage, William Daniels as Mr. Feeney, Corey's neighbor and teacher. Who else was in this? Will Friedle plays Corey's older brother, Eric, who I forgot how funny Will Friedle can be. Watching this episode, Ryder Strong plays Sean, Corey's best friend, and Danielle Fishel plays Topanga, Corey's on-again, off-again girlfriend, through most of the series. So before we dive too much into the show itself, what I want to know is everybody's history with the show. I'm going to start with Amy.
I loved this show. As someone who grew up loving the Wonder Years, I went, well, hang on, there's another one. They got 2 of them? Great. Yeah. Fantastic. I'm in. This was our, like, for my younger sister and I, this was our, like, soap opera, right? Like, we definitely went to www.coreyandtopanga.com or whatever it was, like that, like, ridiculous URL that they had at the time. I very clearly remember that. It's probably still there. Like it's probably some archive version somewhere. But yeah, no, we watched a lot of Boy Meets World. A lot. And as someone who always had like a close relationship with her teachers, I was like, yes, this I understand. This dynamic, I've got this. I wished that all my teachers would also progress through school with me so that I did not have to meet new people.
Right?
Right.
The neurodivergent dream.
Audie, how about you? What's your history with this show?
So, Boy Meets World is one that I never really followed that much. It's one I never followed, but I know I watched a lot of it because I know so much about it. You know, I mean, I know Corey and Topanga were meant to be together and we're on again, off again at times. I know Sean was his best friend. I know Sean had his life struggles. I know, you know, Eric was the crazy one. And yeah, good lord, Will Friedle. Good lord. Especially when you know that he's Batman in the Batman Beyond and you see him here. And I'm just like, wait, how is this the
Yeah.
same person? Really? But yeah, I can't say I watched it regularly, but I watched enough that I know it and really dig it.
Mhm. All right. Steven, how about you? Did you watch Boy Meets World?
Did I watch Boy Meets World? I mean, this has every single thing I love about television just crammed into it. For a long time, people used to compare me and Stephanie's relationship to that of Corey and Topanga. We never broke up 57 times, but you know, it was we there was a lot that we kind of did that we were like, hey, that looks like what we did, and all kinds of stuff throughout high school because we were high school sweethearts, the whole deal. And I mean, I've seen every episode of the show multiple times, and I think what I loved and what I do love still a lot about it is that every couple seasons the cast would change a little bit and there was growth, and then there was like, you know, one of the things I remember is that Eric was kind of just this I'm a teenage big brother for the first few seasons, and then he became this cartoon as it went along. In the show, kind of
Yeah.
as it ran out of normal ideas of situations to put these people in, they got even weirder as it went along. Like towards the latter seasons, they had a Truman Show style episode where Eric would wear a beret and was like directing this real life Truman Show style thing with Corey. It was just, you know, and they touched on heavy topics too for the
Mhm.
Yeah,
time.
they did.
Like Wonder Years did is kind of its own thing about like broken families and child abuse, and like, boy, they beat Sean to death. They were like, let's take this character and just
Mhm.
make it impossible for him to be successful. It was just
Right.
meanwhile Corey's over here like, I can fix him. It was really, you know, but they dealt with that dynamic in such a way that it worked, you know. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I loved Corey's parents all the way through. I loved his family.
Yeah.
This was a fun show to watch. Growing up, I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm a little more towards Audie on this, where I watched it. I watched the show a lot. I remember a lot about it, but I didn't. I don't. It's weird because watching it, I remember things, and there's other stuff like I had zero memory of this opening, the opening song for this at all. And so many of these shows, it's like the opening credits start and it unlocks those core memories, and I'm taken back. None whatsoever. It was like watching it for the first time.
That's funny. I've seen enough of it that it was definitely a nostalgia bomb for
Mhm.
me.
This was familiar to me for sure because the original intro when they're in elementary school is like whistles and cheesy stuff,
Mhm.
and this is like gin blossoms or something
Yes.
going on. It has a
Yes.
That's it.
That's
Oh,
it.
that's perfect.
yeah, it would just unlocked it for me for sure. I really struggled though to figure out what era we were in. I was like, are we in college? We're not in college yet. Why is John's brother there? They're in college. We're not in college. It was like, why are the college kids in detention? Are Corey and Topanga married? They're not married. I was just a mess for the first 15 minutes of this show. I could not figure out where we were.
You know, it was that point where they've grown up and everybody's 20, but they're still playing high schoolers because that's how TV works.
Yeah, it's so
And
jarring.
it's tough when you do a show like a coming of age sitcom like this, where the focus is the kids. Like Full House, the kids are main characters, but you also have all the dads and adults there. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a lot of the episodes can be focused on them, and then the kids are sort of side characters as they grow, right? And
Mhm.
so you can do that. But when your main character is the kid and he's growing up, like like Amy brought up, you know, Mr. Feeney's got to keep moving along with him through school. He goes from being the middle school teacher to, I think it's the principal in high school,
Mhm.
and then becomes a teacher in the high school, and then becomes a teacher at the college that Corey goes
Yeah.
to, like
Yeah.
at the same
Yep.
time.
Probably the
You just
dean
got to keep him
eventually.
there.
Yeah. And then
Sure,
what
I'm
was fun
sure.
about him too is if you watch the show from a certain angle, it's Mr. Feeney's story. You know, like
Mhm.
it could be
Uh-huh.
Corey's, but it could also be Mr. Feeney's. And Eric and Feeney's relationship in the
Oh my
latter
gosh.
seasons was
Mhm.
so fun to watch. Like them together, they
Yeah.
unlocked some kind of comedy thing between the two of them. And I'm like, that's why I
Yes.
come to this show now, is for Feeney and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, I just love the fact that William Daniels was the voice of Kit, and You know, I was a Knight Rider fan, so of course, gotta love that.
Mhm.
But yeah, 7 seasons, 158 episodes. And Steven, you mentioned it, but they did tackle some heavy stuff. This was one of those that had very special episodes.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
one
yeah.
I distinctly remember was the one on alcohol, the drinking episode.
Sure.
Now we didn't get his parents in this particular episode, which was a bummer because I loved his parents. His parents were great characters, but we didn't get them here. Instead, what we get is we start off. We're in the classroom. Sean comes in, and Corey's sitting in his seat in the class, and he's like, "Corey, you're in my seat." Well, I I broke up with Topanga. I need a buffer. I need somebody in between us. And Sean reluctantly takes the seat. And I did like the justification. Well, if I sit there, I can smell her shampoo, and I can see her sweater lift up when she raises her arm. And Sean's like, "All right, fine, I can do this."
All right, fine.
This is such a hopeless romantic in Corey. He's just like, no, she's just too beautiful and perfect. I have to be away.
So Feeney's teaching the class. Sean sits down and is immediately like, "Look, I'll sit in between the two of you, but I'm not getting in the middle of this, right? Because this is right off of a breakup of the two of them." And
Yep.
immediately, another person in the class, Kenny, asked Topanga for her giant pencil, which that was a
It's
gigantic
a giant
pencil.
pencil.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say, having no idea where this episode was going because I didn't remember it that well, as soon as I heard Kenny's name, I was like, "Are they really going there? Is that going to happen?"
Oh, they went there so much.
Yeah, they did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I had Amy's reaction is everything I also felt. Oh boy.
I was like, oh no. Oh boy. What year? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Exactly.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, so
Yep.
this episode aired in February of 1998. That will become important as we
Yes,
go
it
on.
will.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, it
yes,
will.
it will. Very important.
So Kenny asks for
Relevant.
the pencil. He wants to borrow Topanga's pencil, and Sean immediately is like jumping in between. "Hey, you don't need to borrow her pencil. I know what you're trying to do here, buddy. You leave her alone. They're just in a trial separation." Like,
Mister, I'm not getting
immediately
in the
doing
middle
that
of
thing.
this at all.
Yeah.
And then I know it. Like, I'm just trying to borrow a pencil. Yeah. I know what that means. I've borrowed so many pencils, which honestly pays off really well later.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh, it does. So Feeney's already annoyed, and this was a line. So when Mr. Feeney's like, "All right, that's it. This class is not going to be more involved in whatever you kids are doing than, or what the relationships of these kids than whatever the hell it is I'm teaching." Which, when this ran on Disney Channel, because it originally ran on ABC. When it was syndicated and running on Disney Channel, they edited and chopped that up to take the word hell out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
They
And
used to
they
do that
put
to
it
the
back
Golden
on.
Girls on Hallmark Channel also.
Of course they did.
Wow.
But I love that line. This class will not be interested in the romantic goings-ons of its students. More interested in that than whatever the hell it is I'm teaching.
It was so good. I love how frustrating.
And then he
so good
says
because we don't care. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. Nope, not at all. And then he says one more outburst and you're all going to detention. And that's when the creepy janitor just comes into the room to dump
Freddy.
the thing and just point at the kids and then leave. Which the creepy janitor, who sadly is not in the credits. I don't know who that was.
Sound guy.
Really?
And the one trivia said some sources have claimed it was Joe Turkel from The Shining and Blade Runner. It's not Joe Turkel.
No.
It's
I
very
guarantee you,
much
like 100%
It doesn't
certain it's
even
not
look
that.
like him.
The director of this episode was Jeff McCracken, who did like 50 something episodes. And he said, no, it was just some dude that had a good look. I've never seen him again. So
Like, didn't even know his name.
he's not in the credits. He's not even listed as uncredited. Like, there is no name for whoever that is.
This has
but I just love him coming in.
caddy written all over it. Just like
Right, exactly.
Right.
So Feeney ends up putting them all in detention, right? So all the kids now, they got detention. I did love, he splits up Corey and Topanga, makes them sit on opposite sides of the classroom. Sean is all upset by that, but they end up in detention. And I like Feeney walking through the detention and saying something to Corey, and Corey being like all, snarky about it. Oh, maybe when they're acting like 2-year-olds. And because Feeney calls him out on that. When one is mocking someone, one should make sure that they're not still looking at them. And I just love Corey's response. I'm not in my normal seat.
That was good.
Corey's great. I love Corey as a character. I definitely identified with Corey a lot when I watched this as a kid because I was also Corey.
Ending up in trouble without trying to, but somehow you ended up in trouble anyway, and you're like, dang nabbit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they're all in detention. Feeney's like, all right, well, I'm not in detention. I can leave, but you all have to stay here and not do anything for an hour and a half. So he just
that's how
leaves.
that works.
Mm-hmm. And so he leaves, and then Sean's like, well, all right, if I've got to be stuck here for 90 minutes, I'm going to go get my cheese product.
So good.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And finds out that the classroom door is locked. Oh, no.
I like this a lot because if you look at the doorknob, it has a lock on the inside. Like the twisty thing is there. They're not going to change the set for this.
No.
You can't
So the
lock
door
a
is
classroom
locked.
from the outside.
They can't get out. And then creepy janitor comes back by, staring at him through the door. And what is he calls him? Giggles, I think.
Yeah,
which is great. And asks if he's got a key, and the guy just holds up like a whole key ring full of keys,
right? The janitor key of keys,
and then just walks away with his squeaky, the squeaky wheels on his whatever dumpster that he's pushing around.
Right.
So now they're stuck in there, and then what is it? Then that's when they turn around and the board, like the screen, rolls up, on the board, and it says, "You won't get out alive." I think
no one gets out alive.
Yeah,
written in blood on the chalkboard. And we get our first scream from
Angela.
Yes.
Angela's the resident screamer.
Right. Trina McGee, who came along later on in the series. She wasn't an original cast member. To your point, Stephen, about cast members changing over the years.
She threw me off too because I thought she didn't come around until the college period of the show. I didn't remember her being there in high school. So that was tripped me up. And the joke about them being married tricked me up. And I was like, where are we? And then I finally figured it out. It only took 10 minutes.
So Sean is now figuring out, oh, this is like a scary movie. And he becomes Randy from Scream at this point.
Yes.
Right? He goes meta.
Perfect period for that.
Oh, yeah.
98.
Oh,
like,
yep.
We're in it. We're in the thick of it.
Oh, yeah.
98.
Yeah.
I think Scream and Scream 2 had been out by then.
And I Know What You Did Last Summer, which may be important later.
A little important. Just a little bit.
So Sean has figured out they're in some sort of a scary movie thing, and he thinks Feeney is the one behind it.
Right.
And then they start hearing a thump at the door. It's getting scary. It's getting scary. And then he says something scary is going to be behind that door, and it opens up, and it's Eric and Sean's brother, Jack played by Matthew Lawrence.
When Eric just goes,
so funny.
Heidi ho! I was like, Lord.
It was our first reference that we got.
Yes. Our first South Park reference.
Talk about lazy writing is incoming. Let's go.
Because I didn't immediately clock Kenny. Like it didn't.
No, me neither.
Sure.
It didn't immediately. It was just a kid. You know what I mean? And then we get Heidi Ho, and I was like, hang on, now.
What do we do?
Oh no.
And but I did love the joke where Sean is talking about, oh, we're in a scary movie, and one of us will be the first one to go, and he just points at Kenny.
Yeah.
And Kenny's like, wait, why me? And I just love Corey being like, "Watch, it's not going to be any one of us."
Right?
Come on.
It's very meta.
It's
very funny.
Bubble.
Yeah, we got plot
That was
armor.
really funny.
Yeah, so Eric and Jack show up. They were just happened to be at the school playing basketball when they were in And then it was creepy. Something creepy happened. And I like to think, what do you creepy? What do you mean creepy? Why creepy? Why would you say creepy? He's like, I don't know. It just that janitor guy came into the locker room and emptied the trash. And that's it. Oh, and there was blood in the shower.
Yeah.
It's like blood in the shower, just like that horror classic, blood in the shower.
That was okay.
Those were
That
good.
was my favorite running gag in
Yes.
this movie.
That
Mhm.
was great.
I mean, in this episode, because we have I have a friend who does an awful lot of terrible B movies, and they
Yes.
all have titles like this, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
this joke gets arguably overplayed, and yet not at all overplayed. It's so good.
hmm
You can
Oh, it
almost
was really,
visualize
really
the
good.
VHS cover that you're
Yeah.
looking at in Blockbuster when you
Direct
hear
to
the titles.
video.
Yeah, you can see it.
Absolutely. So then the lights go out and we get another Angela scream
Mm-hmm.
and the lights come back on. And I like when the lights come back on and Jack is holding
Yep.
Eric.
Eric's and Jack's on. It was
The old
wonderful.
Scooby Doo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you lost weight since the last time? Yeah, actually. And then Angela screams again. And I
This
like
is
Sean.
good.
No, no, no.
The notes.
Yeah, no, no, no. You can't. You scream when the lights go off. You don't scream when the lights come back on. And then she screams a third time. Now you're just being loud. And she's like pointing. And then we get the reveal of why she's screaming. It's because Kenny has been killed. Giant pencil through the forehead.
Yeah.
all the way through the forehead,
Yeah,
and then
all
the
the way.
Oh my
slide
gosh.
down the wall.
Oh my
The
gosh, that joke.
slide down the wall.
The slide down
I
the wall, and then
laughed.
Corey's like, "Oh, well, at least we'll know he was this
We'll
tall."
always remember he was this tall.
I laughed so hard.
because he's so serious about it.
Yeah.
So good. Steven, same. I laughed
Yeah.
so hard at just the pencil mark down the wall. All of that.
Yeah.
And then we get our second South Park reference because we get Eric yelling, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny!"
Well,
And you can
he
see
yelled,
him saying,
he yelled, "Oh my gosh, they killed Kenny!"
"Right,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they killed Kenny!" And you can see him saying, "You bastards!"
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's covered up by the screaming.
they did that both. I was like, okay, ABC, they had to be. Oh my gosh, they killed Kenny. Let's clean it up a
Mhm.
bit. If we're gonna
Yeah.
reference a mature show on Comedy Central, we better do it in such a way that the parents might not notice.
Right. And as I mentioned, this was February of 98. South Park had debuted in August of 1997. So it was very much,
Oh, very
it was.
fresh. Yeah.
very much in the zeitgeist at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Did anybody ever see the underground tape of South Park that went around before the series actually was on Comedy Central?
Where they made it out
No.
of construction paper.
Yeah, and it was like Santa
Nah.
Claus versus Jesus.
I knew about it. I didn't see it.
It made its
No,
but
rounds
I
in my
want
high
to now.
school. Oh my gosh. I'm sure you can find it online, but
Probably.
When I was in high school, my boyfriend at the time and I went to go see Penn and Teller, and they were signing autographs in the lobby after the show. And so we're just standing there waiting to see Teller, and we just hear from the other side of the lobby the booming voice of Penn saying, "And Kenny dies tonight on Comedy Central." It was so good.
So Kenny's dead, and they run out into the hallway, and we get more meta commentary on horror movies. Sean is doing his whole Randy thing of like, no, no, no. Oh, all the lights start to flicker, and you hear the music.
Wait. Did we miss the virgin
We
conversation?
missed the virgin joke. That was a good
Oh
We
my
missed the
gosh,
virgin
yes.
No,
conversation.
that
because-
hasn't happened yet because
It hasn't.
Feeney hasn't died yet.
oh right,
Oh,
yeah.
that happens later.
Oh,
That
okay.
doesn't
Yes.
happen
Okay.
yet.
I thought it was
Yeah.
at the
So they-
beginning.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
all
So
right,
they,
all
they
right,
go
all
out in the
right, all right.
hall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they go out in the
Okay.
hall. The music, that weird calliope music, starts to play. The lights are flickering, and Sean is like, "Come on, Feeney, you're better than this." Like he's figured Feeney is the killer now.
Mm-hmm.
Feeney is the one behind all of this, and we get the meta commentary of like, "Well, what's going to happen now?" And he's like, "Well, first there'll be some hooded figure that'll, show up while we're not looking." And they look behind themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy and just a hooded figure runs in front of them, and they turn back around, and there's no one there.
So good.
And that's when they go back in the classroom. No, that's when
No,
Feeney, and he
Feeney
says,
is
"Oh, now
right.
Feeney's going to show up to us and
Mhm.
reveal his master plan." And then there's Feeney just standing in the hallway.
Yeah, the flickering lights, and then boom, there's Feeney.
And so they're making the comments like, "Oh, Feeney, you got us on that. What's the lesson you were trying to teach us?" And he's not moving. And
Nope.
Sean kind of gives him a little slap on the back. And listen, I have done this movement where William Daniels drops to his knees and then falls forward. That is not an easy thing to do. That hurts a lot because I didn't see a mat
No.
on the floor there.
No.
That is
It was-
That is a painful movement to do. I'm
That's
just
a
going to say
risky
that.
movement. My wife broke her knee that way. So all I could think about was like, oh, you're older. Don't shatter something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I would not attempt.
No,
No.
And he
wouldn't do it.
collapses, and his scissors are in his back, and so they freak out because now Feeney's dead, and we get South Park reference number 3. Oh my gosh, they killed Feeney.
Yep.
And
Now
they
it's
run
just
back into
starting
the
to show.
classroom.
Like now we're starting to get a little bit like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that it was like, all right.
Yeah, but it was Eric doing it, and that's what Eric does on this show, so it was okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
And South Park clearly
So they go-
exists in the Boy Meets World universe.
Yeah. So they go back in the classroom, and now Sean is trying to figure things out. I think this is when Angela suggests they split up, and Sean is like, "No, bad idea.
No.
You don't split up."
He feels bad because it's always the first suspect. Obviously, as soon as I suspected him, I'd signed his death warrant or whatever. It's really good.
And this is where we get the probably, I would say, one of the funniest string of jokes, and that is well, who's going to survive? Well, I mean, virgins always survive this kind of stuff. And the progression of these jokes is great because first you get Corey going to Topanga like, thank you for saving me. And then you get Eric, well, I'm dead. And Jack, yeah, I'm dead too. And Sean,
And then
I'm gonna
Sean,
get really,
this-
really sick,
Can you
about
get
as
as
close as
sick-
you can get.
I'm gonna get as sick as you possibly can without actually dying. And I was like, oh no.
That was such a good joke. And then the Feeney
flashbacks to
thing.
my awkward youth. No. Oh God. So funny.
And then the Feeney joke when they realized Feeney got killed, they were like, "Go Feeney, go Feeney!"
Like, yeah, guys, he's in his 50s, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But while they're celebrating all that, and Corey comes over, he's like, "Look, as happy as I am for Feeney, I am scared out of my mind right now."
Yep.
And that's when they hear the squeaky wheels of the janitors thing again, and they figure the janitor's got to be the killer now.
Right.
And someone says that, and Sean's like, "No, now you've just signed his death warrant." And so they go out in the hallway, and there's the janitor's cart, and I think Angela screams again, and this is when Jack.
No, not yet.
No.
Because they told her
he
not
says,
to look.
They're like, hey, are you tired of screaming yet? And she's like, yeah, kinda. And they're like, well, don't look in here.
But didn't Jack make his comment when she screams? Oh, she screamed at Feeney. That's what it was, I think.
Yeah.
And Jack,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're really good at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they find the body of the janitor in his cart, in his tub. So it can't be the janitor, and so now they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they decide Eric will be the one to wait out in the hall. Oh no.
Well, they think they're like, nobody else is here, so the killer is one of us.
Oh yeah, we get that scene. That's right. Yes. The classic like horror movie, everybody turning on each other moment.
Right. And then
which
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, which they go through until they're like, nah, never mind. It's not any of us. It's got to be somebody else.
And then they do the whole, okay, somebody's got to find a way out. It's Eric. They're go back inside. I loved.
The I'm the oldest.
Yes, I was about to
say. Yeah, but I've lived longer.
I've lived the
right.
Okay,
I'm the oldest.
Right.
Actually, I'm the oldest. No, but I've lived longer. And Jack's just like, well, yeah, gotta.
I almost believe that scenario there because I feel like there's people older. You know, you could live a long time and still be young. If you know what I mean.
Plus, Jack was a later addition.
That's a good point.
To the show.
Yeah.
So he was not there from the beginning.
So they leave Eric out in the hallway to figure things out for himself. He's gonna be the one to confront the killer. They all go hide in the classroom, and then we get our special guest star for this episode.
Yeah, we do.
A new student in the school comes wandering in, and it is Jennifer Love Hewitt
Mm-hmm.
Sure is.
Yes,
playing
it is.
Jennifer Love Pfeffernan.
Mhm.
Yes, she was. Okay, I'm gonna
Um,
confess, I had the hugest crush on her.
I
back then.
don't know how you wouldn't.
I
Back
mean,
yeah,
then.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure how
but
you couldn't.
Pretty obvious.
I love the joke that comes
Um,
later too. But
and she was dating Will Friedle at the time.
right.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Because I
Okay,
was
good.
like,
Yeah, no. Yeah. Because it was
I was
like,
bothered.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
was like,
yes.
that's fairly
because
aggressive.
Eric sees her
Sees her. Oh,
and
hi.
is yep, just immediately
Well, it
start
was
like
the like, it was the like, don't tell me you're not the killer. Just and think just because you're pretty, I'll believe you. I'm not the killer. Oh, you're so pretty, I believe you. That I
well,
will
just like
say,
that
I will
classic
say,
movie.
yeah.
Mhm.
You don't tell me because you're so pretty, and I'll believe you. Um, I will say that as uncomfortable as that was, the line of "Gee, you're friendly" was really good.
And the rest of the kids are like peering out from the classroom like, oh, I don't know how much I trust her, but I also am not sure how much I trust Eric now. But they come out, and then the phone rings, the payphone in the hallway,
Uh-huh.
and Jack answers it, and it's the Scream scary voice on the phone. What's your
Yeah.
favorite scary movie type thing?
Oh man, let me think. How do you
Well,
decide?
well, I love
and
the
it,
one with the hottie McHot from Party of
Yeah.
Five.
Oh, that
yeah,
was
and
good.
you're like,
Yes.
Nev Campbell?
and Jennifer Love Hewitt saying Nev Campbell, and that's the
Right.
best part.
That was such a
So
good joke.
Yep.
Just great meta humor there.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, that was good
and
to me because you've got Jennifer. The South Park stuff was kind of cringy, but this was funny.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
was
whole
funny.
different
This was
angle.
very-
Yeah.
But if you weren't alive at the time, you don't get those at all. But
Oh
like,
no,
it's
you don't
like,
understand.
Oh my gosh,
No.
those were great. And like
Mm-hmm.
knowing all those jokes, it just hits so much harder.
hmm and then I like Eric grabbing the phone and saying we can use the phone
We can use
because I think
this.
Corey or somebody's like we can use the phone to get help. And
Mhm.
Eric says yeah, and then when the killer shows up we can hit him with this, and he just rips the phone receiver right off.
Right.
Perfect.
But then it rings anyway, and he talks to the
Mhm.
killer
And
on
he
the
talks to
on
him.
the
Yeah, it still works because
disconnected phone. But he it's
For
the
you younger
one-sided
listeners,
conversation.
that doesn't work.
yeah.
No, does not. The disconnected conversation of, he just keeps talking. What did he say? Well, he said he's going to come here and kill us all, and we should wait for him. And so they had just run away.
Uh-huh.
The like
Um,
blah 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 hand motion
yeah.
while he's on the phone, and I was like, I have
Yes.
been there.
Uh-huh.
I
Yep.
have done
Yeah.
that. I've done the
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
And then also when they run off and Eric stays behind to check the payphone for extra change, just in case.
That was
Yep.
really
Just in
good.
case.
I
Again,
remember
kids'
doing that at the
payphones
mall.
were
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
thing.
You used to have to put
Yeah.
quarters in a
Yeah.
machine to talk on the phone.
You go pick it up and put it down just to see if like a coin fell out, you know.
Mhm.
Yep.
And if you
Yeah.
believe the chain internet letters, they were putting LSD on the phone numbers. You could get
Yep.
high.
Oh snap!
Be careful.
should've
Hypodermic
licked more
needles have been
payphones.
hidden in the change return drawer. I remember
Mhm.
all that. False.
So they head to the library, and I did like Eric. When did the school get a library?
That was really good. It made me wonder if they've ever shown the library scene at the school in the history of the school of the show. Like if this was
Right.
a new set for this
I-
moment, but I
As
didn't go look
small
back
as
for
that
it.
set was, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because Lord,
Yeah.
that was the tiniest library I've ever seen.
They only needed
And-
this much. They needed a camera
Yeah.
Mhm.
lens view. That's
Yep.
it.
Exactly.
Like when they split off and then it's just like, oh, they're doing this. I'm like, the other people are like right there. You know that, right?
They were like right there.
They're there.
And also at this point we are 17 minutes into our 22-minute long episode, and we got to thin some cast members out because this is a horror movie. Remember,
Yeah.
so
We gotta get it done.
they get into the library. They've got Jennifer with them.
Mm-hmm.
She's being all sweet to Corey, with Topanga just giving her the side eye.
Right.
It was real good.
Mm-hmm.
She
and
walked like
then-
slowly behind them in the background,
Yeah.
staring.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
really good.
She walks away, and some books fall from an upper shelf onto her. She screams. They
Mhm.
hit her, and Eric comes around the corner, seeing her. She's all like twisted up, and he's like, "Oh no, are you okay?" She's like, "I'm dying." Well, no, just hold on to that. Don't worry. There'll be time to tell me later, because she wants to tell him something. She's like, "I'm dying." Goes, "Oh, right, okay. You probably should tell me
Yeah,
now."
you can better tell me. Yeah.
And
Man,
she
I
said
feel
she saw who the killer was right before the books fell on her. And as
Mhm.
she's about to tell him that, more books fall on Eric.
Yeah.
lethal books.
Lethal.
Yeah,
Very
Lethal
lethal.
books.
I really, I would feel a lot better knowing that they were dating, because there was like just a
Yeah.
lot going on here where I was
Mhm.
like, Eric, I know y'all are actors, but you're like real touchy feely all over. Like, we need to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did y'all plan this ahead? And now I feel better. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they were fine. This was all good and good fun.
Yep. So Jennifer and Eric now, and I like Jack coming around the corner. Eric, Feffy, but Eric, he was my best friend and my roommate.
Now I
Now
can't
I
I didn't
can't
really
afford my
know her.
apartment.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah.
I
really
didn't
know
really,
her.
I didn't really know her, but he paid for half the apartment, and now I can't afford my apartment. Wait, if I can't afford my apartment, I don't want to live. And he goes out to like the
So
ledge.
good.
He just heads straight for
Listen,
the ledge.
he would
Mhm.
not survive the 2020s. I'm just gonna
No,
say
no.
he would not like this reality.
But I like Angela following him out. It's like, no,
Right.
Sean is still your roommate. You can afford the apartment. He's like, oh, right. We should probably go inside then.
Well, she
Um,
says she said this
and they're about to go back
dramatic.
inside, and the
She
hooded.
goes, together you can make the rent. And I just thought that was the best delivery.
But then the hooded figure shows up and just pushes them off. So they're
Mhm.
gone. And you turn around, and there's Topanga and Corey and Sean, and they're face to face with the hooded figure in the skull mask.
Yep.
And they ask him why is he killing all of them, and he grabs Topanga and Corey's hands and puts them together. And Sean steps forward and he unmasks him. And it's
Dun, dun,
Sean.
huh. There's another Sean.
It's Sean was the killer the whole time.
Yep.
And they're staring at each other, and you're hearing Corey say, Sean, Sean, and then we fade back, and it was all a dream. Sean had
Yeah.
fallen asleep during detention.
And if it took you this long to figure out that it's a dream, I don't know, go talk to somebody, because
Right.
you need some help.
Right. Definitely. So yeah, all of it was a dream. Sean was dreaming this whole thing. He was processing his dealing with Corey and Topanga's breakup.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells Feeney, like, hey, none of them belong in here. This is all my fault. And we get the kind of, the wrap up and the message for the episode
Right.
of
Yeah.
Sean, it's not
Yes.
your fault. You don't have any, you're not responsible for this type of
Mhm.
thing. Which was a major
You
part of
need
the show.
therapy. Obviously, this is not going to
Yeah.
be great for you.
Mhm.
No.
It's cool.
This goes back to the whole, like
Um,
I said, they abuse Sean. Like, every moral point that needs to get made around, like,
Mhm.
being left or forgotten or downtrodden or otherwise, left to your own miserable existence, they put on Sean. They're like, he can carry that.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's fine. It's fine. I thought it was poignant, though. I thought it was a beautiful message, about
yeah.
Sean's like, this is the only foundation I've got. I've got no parents.
Mhm.
I've got no decent world. All I've got is Corey and Topanga are together. That's how my
Mhm.
life
Mhm.
works.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. And that ends the episode, and then we get a little post moment where Feeney is teaching the class, and all the kids are answering all of his questions perfectly, and with them, Sir, Mr. Feeney, sir.
Uh-huh.
And that's a dream too.
Yeah, it
He's fallen
So
asleep
good.
in his dreaming, and the actual class is just bedlam. Just
That was
absolute
really great.
craziness.
Do kids still throw paper airplanes? I feel
No,
like
they
this
don't.
might be a lost art.
They
This
don't
is a
know how to
lost
do it.
It
art.
might be.
If my kid is any indication, yes, they do.
Excellent. Okay, good. Keeping it alive. I
Yes.
appreciate. Tell him, thank him for his service.
I will.
I appreciate
You're
it.
raising them
will.
right. And that is the episode. And then there was Sean, which I do love that title too, because it is a great
Yes.
Agatha Christie
Mhm.
yeah.
reference in the title. From And Then There Was One. This is a
Done.
fun episode. It's not directly like Halloween, but it is Halloween themed. It is horror movie themed.
Sure.
Oh, I
I
think it
did
counts.
see a thing. It was in the same interview where they were talking about who the janitor was. Where it might have been like it may have originally been scheduled for Halloween and then it got like preempted or something and they just stuck it in later. The director was no longer sure at the time of the interview why it was,
Mhm.
February. But that's fine.
But it was a fun episode, and it was one of those things. This is one of the higher rated Boy Meets World episodes, and
Yeah.
it did a lot of the stuff that this show did well. It was funny,
Mhm.
it was topical, it had a message to it, and it had a great guest star. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt, for the short period of time she's there, she was a huge star at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This was coming off the heels of I Know What You Did Last Summer, and
Mhm.
I think she was still on Party of Five at the time,
Probably.
and
She was
that was
still
a big
connected to it
thing.
no matter what. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it was a big thing. And this show did a lot of guest stars. I actually went through and looked at some of the guest stars that were on here. Had a
Mhm.
couple of one-offs, like Tom Bosley was in an episode.
Yeah.
Buddy Hackett was in an
What?
episode.
Nice.
Why not?
Heck
Um,
Why
yeah.
not?
They did a crossover with Sabrina, the Teenage Witch,
Oh
which
yeah.
was on TGIF at
makes
the time. So
sense.
they had Melissa Joan Hart and Nick Bakay doing the voice of Salem.
Mhm.
Um, with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Phyllis Diller was in
Oh,
an episode.
excellent.
Incredible.
Pat Morita.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Um,
What?
what was another one? Richard Karn, Rue McClanahan, Soupy
Mhm.
Sales showed up in an episode, which is the most random reference probably ever. The Monkees. We had Mickey
Yeah, of
Dolenz, Peter
course.
Tork, and Davy Jones all in an episode, and then Peter Tork and Mickey Dolenz were separately in different episodes,
Which
which I
just
thought
goes
was
to
great.
show that the makers and creators of this show grew up with all of those actors.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the same way
Yeah.
that people that are our age making movies and stuff now, and we're getting all those references and stuff into different movies that we understand and the kids
Mhm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of that
yeah.
same kind of thing then for them.
Yep. Somebody was a Eight Is Enough fan because they had because I think that was Dick Van Patten, right? Was he Eight Is Enough? Or am I thinking of a different show? Might be a different show. I don't know. But also a young Adam Scott and Linda Cardellini were in a few episodes,
Oh
which
yeah.
I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Adam Scott was
Um,
like a bully or something, wasn't he?
I think so. He was in like 4 episodes.
Yeah, he was like a cool kid that showed up, like a trans. He came in and went out. I think he was like this cool bully guy.
Yeah. The other ones that caught my eye were Julius Carey was in guested in 3 episodes. He's the Shogun of Harlem from Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. I just love Julius Carey. He was also in Briscoe County Jr.
Nice.
And Ethan Suplee was in
Yes.
19 episodes. A young Ethan
Yeah.
Suplee.
First season,
who
he was with the greaser. They were like two
Yep.
bullies that picked on Corey all the time.
Yeah. And his dad was played by Leon White, aka Vader, the pro wrestler. Which is
Yes.
perfect.
Very good comedy.
And yeah, those 2. And then there was the character in the early season of the show that was another friend of Corey's, played by what was his name? Lee Norris played Stuart Minkus in season
Oh
1.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Minkus.
Minkus.
I
I
remember
loved
Minkus.
Minkus.
I feel like Minkus got replaced basically by Topanga in season 2, right? Because she was kind of a recurring character in the first season.
Yeah.
But
Once they
Minkus was
decided
everywhere.
They
wanted
decided it
this,
was too much nerd. We couldn't
Probably.
we couldn't have them
Yeah.
both. I feel like they decided that Topanga and Minkus clearly would have been better suited for each other. And that was just not gonna fly.
well, once they figured the show out and they knew they wanted Corey and Topanga to be the will they won't they of the
Mhm.
series.
Yeah.
You know, and this is one of those shows I think survived the unification of the question, will they, won't they?
Yeah.
And it went
Yeah.
more seasons and they were good. Like a lot of times shows just tank
Mhm.
after the question's
Yeah.
gone. Are they going to stay together or whatever?
Yeah.
To the point where the sequel spin-off is basically this show 2.0 at times.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Girl Meets World. There's so many times where I've seen episodes and parts of it. It's like it's more about the adults than those girls and stuff. And it's just like,
You're just
okay.
watching the progression. It's
Uh-huh.
the new story of the parents.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And this was, Boy Meets World was always a show that had a shelf life. It was only going to last so long because you can only
Mhm.
have the coming of age until a certain point.
Mhm.
So by
And
2000, they decided
corporate
it was over.
America is not the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even when they got into
Um,
college and they were grown up, they were still figured out a lot of good stuff to do.
Yeah.
they
Because they
did.
had Fred
They did.
Savage come in and be a creeper, and then that ended up being a real
Yeah.
thing. You know, they had like those
Oh my
those,
god.
those whole things. Am I the only one that knows that Fred Savage being a creeper was on Boy Meets World before
I
real
never
life?
put that together before now. Holy crap.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. I just blew
Um,
Audie's mind.
yeah, and Audie mentioned the spinoff, but Disney Channel did a follow-up series, Girl Meets World. Corey and
Mhm.
Topanga are married, and they have a daughter who's a teenager now, and
God,
it
we're
follows her.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pod Meets World. They do the podcast where they talk about the
Mhm.
shows. That actually
Oh
came
yeah.
to town. I had some friends that went, and they said it was super fun. How do you get a touring podcast? Anybody write in? Let us know how that works. Uh,
Yes,
A lot of
please.
them
I'm
do it,
curious.
man.
I
A
know.
lot of them do it.
Yeah,
I was
they
gonna
do.
say, ask my brother, and me.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I've met them.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Um, yeah, so that's Boy Meets World. This was a show. This took me back.
Mhm.
I had a lot of fun with this one, and this was such a silly premise. And I love the. Normally,
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of like the "oh, it was all a dream" trope, but it
Mhm.
works here for me.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a sitcom, you can get away with that. I think
Yeah,
it
because if
works.
you're gonna do something weird, you need to be able to reset everything for
Mhm.
the next
Yeah.
week.
You need
Yep.
the
And
Doctor Strange
sitcoms are
mirror
always resetting anyway.
universe. I put you in the mirror
Mhm.
dimension. You can break anything you want, and then you can come back and it's all fine.
Yeah. So now that we watched some Boy Meets World, Steven, you gonna watch any more, or would you
Heck
watch more
yeah.
Boy Meets World?
I literally want to go back and just loop back through it. I might skip season one's a little grating for me now as an older person where it focused so much on like elementary school. And despite my love for
Mhm.
Minkus, I think it is a little too much nerd for me now. So I'd probably start at like season
Mhm.
2 once they knew what they were doing and kind of work
Mhm.
forward. But I could totally just turn this on and I kind of want to. Like this is the first time I've ever thought I'm just gonna bring up Disney Plus and hit play while I work, and just have it
There you
because
go.
it's comforting. It's a bowl of cereal for me. Really like it.
Excellent. Audie, how about you?
I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, I don't know how much time I'll have to watch anything else that I would want to watch. So, but it's definitely something I wouldn't turn away from if it's on at all because it's just so much fun. And the thing that got me on this, the plot of this episode, and the way they were killing everybody off, it made me think of the way, like, if you've ever tried to write letters, big letters on something, and you didn't plan it out well enough. You
Yes.
got these big letters here, then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah. And then you're
shrink them
like,
down
oh,
to
let me
fit
just
towards
squish
the
it
end.
in.
That's what it felt like, in the best way.
Yep. That is such a good analogy because it's like, oh, we're gonna have this great plot, and then oh
Mhm.
no, we're at
And
17
then,
minutes. We got
yep,
4 minutes of runtime left plus
books,
credits.
books
Yeah.
out the
Yep.
window, push them. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, this was fun for sure.
yeah. Amy, how about you? How was revisiting Boy Meets World?
I mean, it was good. Like, it was good. It was funny. I laughed. I thought it was well made. Like, I was happy to watch it. I think I'm happy to more or less leave it with my childhood. Like, I mean, I didn't think it was
Sure.
bad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I'm just not there. I feel like I would cringe more than not because it's cringy, but because there's just so much of young me in there, and I think I would maybe rather at this point leave that.
That's a
That's
pretty
fair.
solid point. I
You
might get
know,
halfway
I'm,
through it
like,
and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I've been there, and I don't want to
oh,
remember that."
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
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 I mean, I'm kind of with Audie. I wouldn't turn it away, but I'm not going to seek it out. There's a bunch of other
Mhm.
stuff that I do want to watch. I have been, since we talked about Adam's Family, been watching some episodes of the Adams Family,
Heck
which has been
yeah.
So
super
good.
fun.
So good.
So
Um, yeah, so that wraps up our Halloween episode month, which was a ton
happy
of fun.
spooky
We
season.
we
Yeah.
went through some interesting, different Halloween themed stuff, and
Yeah, we
this was
did.
Mhm.
really cool.
And you did
Now we
timing it just right.
Yep.
Yeah, we did because as we record this, Halloween is later this week.
Mm-hmm.
Now we did do a poll. Did we get any results on our poll?
Did we get any results? Somebody filled the ballot box.
Yeah, they did.
Oh boy.
I checked it this afternoon. I was like, wow, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not unhappy with that.
I really need to rewrite Polar Bear to have a IP address or cookie checker. Because
leave it. Let's have more fun like this.
This was fun. Yeah, we do have an answer. Are you prepared for the answer? I will give it to you.
I am prepared to hear the answer.
The answer is we are going to be doing 80s cartoons.
Oh.
Yeah, we are.
Oh wow. Boy, did we. I'm just now looking at the results. Only 2 things got any votes. And they were all 80s cartoons, and then 1 vote for movies that became a TV show.
I can just see
So,
Audie sitting there
overwhelmingly,
just going, kids, I want to be honest, but get your entire class to click this button.
you know what? I'm
That
not
was
upset
fun
about that either.
I'm not
80s
mad.
cartoons is
No.
a whole lot of fun because there are
Mhm.
so many we still haven't talked about, and I think
Yeah.
I've already got mine chosen.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot.
I'm choosing
Yeah.
the girliest thing I can find. I don't
Do
know what
it.
it is yet. But
Rainbow
it.
Bright.
that is on. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is currently what I just Googled. What's
We
the
can do
Rainbow
it.
Bright cartoon?
One of the girls at work
Legitimately
was
did.
wearing a Rainbow Bright T-shirt just last week, and we were talking about it. So bring it.
It did also the suggested. People also search for. Also brought up Gem, which is a pretty.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. No,
Also,
man.
I do like Gem.
I mean, I feel like Rainbow Bright, Gem, and Strawberry
Strawberry
Shortcake are like
Shortcake and My Little Pony.
three.
My
Let's
Little
not
Pony.
Oh, My
forget
Little
the
Pony.
OG.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, My Little Pony as well. So,
I'm just trying to think
well,
of all
that'll
the
be
toys
interesting. I
that
can't wait
own.
to see. So, Audie, you're going to be kicking us off then for 80s cartoons, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh
what do you
boy.
got?
So I've talked about this before. I don't know if I talked to it on the podcast or after we recorded, but I'm bringing a weird one to us because
Yes, let's go.
what the heck? We're going to watch a little show called Noozles.
Oh, that
A
sounds
show
familiar.
about a little girl who has a koala bear that when she Eskimo kisses it on the nose, it becomes alive. It's from a parallel dimension. We're going to watch that.
We're watching Noozles. I remember this show.
Yeah,
My
we
mom
are.
hated. Anyway, content.
Yeah. Save it. Yep. So we're gonna watch
Oh.
season 1, episode 15, Koala Walla Land, and it is on YouTube. The link will be in the show notes. We're going there.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh. You're
exciting.
the only
I
other
can't
person
wait.
I've ever met that knows about this show. I'm
Oh
so
my gosh.
excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting and fun watch. I know.
I feel like I've heard of this show. I don't know if I ever saw it. We'll find out when I get a chance to watch it. I love stuff like this, so that's great. Noozles for
Yeah.
80s cartoon month. Awesome.
Mhm.
Did we get any feedback for
I got no
talking
mail.
about Boy Meets World? No mail?
No
I
mail.
didn't see any.
No tweets on my end.
No.
Okay.
No speak
No,
pipes.
I was talking to a friend about it, and she just went off. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I watched that!" Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Okay,
All right.
Perfect. All right. Love that. So if you watched Noozles, or if you remember it, or have ever heard of it, or know whatever the hell Audie's
You're
talking
in the
about,
correct
let,
dimension for Noozles.
let us know. You can do that at thosewerethedays@gmail.com. Send us an email. We want to hear from you. Or on Twitter at those days show. You can find us on all the socials. All that information is in the show notes. Let us know. Do you remember Noozles? Do you have a favorite 80s cartoon? We'd also like to hear that.
Yes.
I'd love to know because there's so many.
Yeah,
I'd love to know what your favorite 80s cartoon was. So let us know that. And meanwhile, until next week, and Noozles, which again I'm excited about. I can't wait to check this out. For Amy and Steven and Audie, I'm Travis, and this was Boy Meets World. We're ending Halloween and we're moving on to 80s cartoons. So until then, watch some old TV. Watch Noozles. Let us know what you think.
Beanie!